Well, here we are again, and I hope you're enjoying our podcasts. And we were talking earlier today and just saying, I wonder who's watching us. Some of you do know us, some of you think then you know us, and some of you have no idea who we are. So we thought today we'd actually introduce Paul. Who is Paul McAneny? And then he can tell you a little bit about his life, how we came to where we are now. And yeah, it's fascinating. So get yourselves ready, make yourself that cup of tea or whatever, and get ready for a very interesting story. So I'd like to introduce you to Paul. And yes, who are you?
Yeah, hi everybody. I left school at 16. I hated school, so I wasn't a really good student. I was a rebel, and so I left. And well, I left because I was advised to leave. The teacher said, if you don't leave, you're going to end up in jail, and you're not going to turn out to be anything anyway. So you may as well leave and go and get a job. So I took that advice, and I told him what I thought of him, and I left. So it was a good experience. Anyway, so I joined the police cadets, and at 16, I thought I knew all about life. And, there I had to learn Pitman shorthand. So we did 120 words a minute shorthand. Then we had to do typing, and I was 40 words a minute in typing. So, and I had to learn about the law and change things. But more importantly, I had to learn how to be listen to directions and not do my own rebel things and think I knew everything. So they brought me into line very, very, very quickly. At 19, I was sworn in the police, and I got stationed at Bankstown Police Station. And the crazy thing about that, I lived in Punchbowl. So I was born and bred in Punchbowl. I went to Punchbowl Boys High, and I knew all the people around the area, and a lot of them were criminal types. So I knew all the people that I'm going to come up against, during my time there. So I was stationed there for a number of years, and I had a lot of crazy experiences there. I was shot at with a shotgun. I was attacked by a knife. I had to deliver death messages. I had really bad fatal road accidents that I had to attend, and it was a crazy life. And then I got transferred up to Newcastle, and then I was asked to set up the CIU unit, which is the Criminal Investigation Unit. Virtually working, getting all the information on all the drug deals, and mainly where all the criminals were, and the bikie gangs and all that sort of stuff. So working undercover in an old station wagon and driving around with my mate. And so there was three of us up in Newcastle looking after the whole district. And we had many learning experiences, and they found out who I was, and I got transferred out overnight back to Sydney. And then I got stationed up at King's Cross. I was stationed at King's Cross for 5 years, and again I was confronted with suicides and deaths, and around this time, my brother passed away with cancer, 31, and my son passed away. And I was involved. I was at the Hilton bombing when my friend Paul was killed, and a few of the others were seriously injured and killed. The garbage men were killed and that as well. So there was lots of little things happened over that time. I had a nervous breakdown, and I was off work for about 18 months, and I was drinking heavily and going crazy, and because I couldn't sleep, I was having nightmares. And so the police doctor advised me to get out of the police, and I was put out on medical grounds for stress. And then the police doctor advised me to go and learn how to control my stress and learn how to sleep again. And I went to a seminar with a guy called Paul Blackburn down in Canberra. Paul worked with a lot of athletes at the Institute of Sport, and I was lucky enough that he was my first mentor. He took me under his wing, and he taught me how to let go of the past and reprogram my brain. And so then I started to sleep in that as well. So it was, and an amazing journey.
So can we just backtrack a little bit?
Of course you can. Yes, I knew you were going to do this.
Because I think there's something really interesting in how teachers have such a big effect on us. As parents, teachers, schools, churches, our community have this effect on us. And I know you've shared with me at school, you actually dumbed yourself down, because actually you are very, very good at maths, for instance, brilliant actually. And but you just dumbed yourself down because you wanted to surf with your mates.
Stay with my mates, and we were in a low class. I was in 2E, 3E, 4E, and so I was in the E classes. So, but we had lots of fun.
Sure.
So that was my life. It's just about having fun and enjoying myself, and going surfing, and that was my whole life really.
But what a big change to go from just having fun, surfing, being a rebel, and then going into the police. And thankfully that teacher actually said to you, you're not going to go anywhere unless you may as well just leave the school. So you decided to teach him a lesson by joining the police, which I think is quite funny. But
I did express myself in a nice way.
I'm sure you did. You had a beautiful language, I'm sure. But can you also say about what a rebel you were, because you had an amazing lesson the very first day that you went to the police academy?
Yeah, well, I rocked up in my board shorts and a surfing t-shirt, and I actually had my thongs on. So you can imagine, I didn't receive the letter of what you had to wear. So there was another 100. There was 150 odd other police cadets there. They were all dressed in their uniforms, and not in uniforms, in their suits, and they looked fantastic. And I rocked up with the thing, and they said. The sergeant said to me, "Where do you think you're going? You're going to the beach?" And I said, I didn't get any letter. And he said, "Well, let's teach you a lesson. This is on my first day." So I had to carry my bag and run around the quadrangle about 20 times, and it was hot day, and everybody was laughing at me. And then they pulled me out the front in front of the 150, and he said to me, "What do you think of this idiot?" in front of all the other police cadets. So that was my first lesson. So you can imagine that the next couple of years was hell. They just rode me and never let me forget, how I started. But it was the greatest lesson that I learned about, about being and listening to what other people tell me, So
opening your lesson.
opening, but also discipline. I was never ever strong discipline. I always, try to do it my own way, and I didn't listen at school. So so discipline was very, very strong for me.
Yeah, your poor mum.
Mum was fantastic. I never heard my mum say one bad word about anybody in her whole life.
She was lovely, but I think she had a lot to put up with 3 boys.
Oh God, yes.
And tell them the story about when you first went to school. Actually, I think you can get an image of who this little boy is that went to school. You actually didn't like school at all from the beginning, did you? So your mum would take you to the school.
She took me to school, and I beat her home. I took off from the school and ran away from the school, and I had to go across Canterbury Road, which is a really, really busy road. So, and I would have only been like 5 at the time, so I had to run across the Canterbury Road, and then I beat her home. And then the only way they can keep me at school is they made me ring the bell at school. So I can still remember ringing the bell, and I love that. So they kept me at school because I could ring the bell.
That was clever.
That was
really clever.
That was good.
And then when you left the police cadets, your first week was one horrendous experience after another. So much so that you actually did write your resignation, didn't you, after a week?
Yes. It was crazy. I started night shift, which is 11 till 7 o'clock in the morning. So the night shift you do seven days straight. And the reason I loved working night shift, because I'd work 7 nights straight and I'd get 4 days off. So I'd go away surfing and having fun with the guys. So we'd go down the coast or up the coast and surf for 4 or sometimes even 5 days we'd get off. But Yeah, that was a really, really. I thought I knew a lot about life, but in the first night, I was working. There was a party, and they ran out of Coca-Cola, and the dad went to buy some Coca-Cola down at the shop, and unfortunately he got hit by a car and was killed. So I had to go tell his wife and all the kids that were having the party that their father had been fatally killed. And I remember just standing outside the door ready to knock, but I couldn't I couldn't knock on the door because I was so scared. And so it was really terrible. And I remember they started crying, and I remember even I had tears in my eyes, and that, giving them the message, and and even seeing the body. That was my first body that I'd ever seen. The next night we were involved in a it was attempted murder. These two friends, they worked together, and one of the friends was going to rape his best friend's wife because he'd fallen in love with her. So about 3 o'clock in the morning, he stripped off at the window, and he got a big carving knife because they also worked night shift 11 till 7. But what happened? One of the children was sick, and he didn't go to work this night, and he was in the bed, and his wife was in the bedroom with a sick child. Anyway, so the guy had the carving knife, stripped off, jumped into bed, thought it was his wife, but it was actually his best friend, and stabbed him about 7 times. Then the wife come running in and stabbed her a few times in the back and in the stomach and that as well. So me being the youngest, they left me there to guard the place because the guy was coming to take photographs and fingerprints and all that of the area.
Where was the attacker? Had he gone?
Well, we believed he'd gone, yes, but so there was so much blood everywhere. I was that scared and that. So I went and got a chair and sat outside, 3 o'clock in the morning, but it was summertime, so it was really nice and that. But I didn't want to be around it and see all the blood and all that sort of stuff in there. Luckily, being 19, I had my gun out, and I was sort of looking at it and just sort of playing like a cowboy, like an idiot, really. Anyway, what happened? He was hiding under the house, and he came out with the knife to attack me and kill me. Anyway, I put my gun on him, and I was shaking like a leaf. I said, "If you don't drop this, I'm going to shoot you," and all that sort of stuff. And that was on the second night. Third night, we got involved in a big brawl at Lidcombe. And there was about 50 people. They were already there fighting and arguing. And there was about 6 police there. And all of a sudden, the 50 of the people just attacked the 6 of us. They were kicking us, and they dragged the sergeant. They got the sergeant's gun and tried to kill him. And then we were fighting with a group of men, myself and my mate. And out from the window comes 2 double-barrel shotguns. Shot, and they shot my mate in the leg. And, we called Signal 1, and police come from everywhere, and it was horrific. We all had bruises, and we're all pretty battered and all that sort of stuff. So and it's just the lesson. So that at the end of that week, I went and typed my resignation. I said, I don't want anything to do with this. I'm out of here. And then the inspector said, look, you've been very unlucky. This won't happen to you, girl. This is only a week. I've only been in a week, and it was just an amazing experience. But again, it didn't really happen again. But I did have, lots of suicides and lots of, murders and that also, and drug overdoses, and, working with mentally and I was attacked a few times, and was involved in the Hilton bombing when the bombing went off, and Paul Blackburn was there. He was killed, and a few of the others were seriously injured, and a couple of other garbage men were killed there. But it was just one thing after another. Around this time, I got transferred up to King's Cross Police Station, and also at this time, my brother at 31 passed away with cancer, and then my son passed away as well. And it was just a horrific time. And I just crashed and burned and had a nervous breakdown, and I was off work for 18 months, and I was drinking heavily and I couldn't sleep, and I was just a mess, really. And I was just reliving all the things, and I couldn't get them out of my brain. So it was it was a journey of self-discovery.
But it was one thing after another building up. You can tell from your stories, and that was only a small amount of what happened. But from that first week, and just one tragedy, one thing that was confronting after another, no wonder you broke down, because you didn't have the skills that you have now to deal with tragedy and life in itself. You were young.
Well, not only that, men, we hide our emotions and our feelings as well. So we kept it to ourselves, and I didn't want to go and get treatment or anything like that, because I didn't want the other guys knowing that I'd gone to see a psychiatrist or had any help or anything like that. So we kept it in, but also at the same time I was wearing a mask, so I wasn't being real. I wasn't, in everything was a lie, and my whole life was living a lie, really. So I was fake, and it was just I was living my whole life on lies.
So it was a blessing when the police doctor suggested you went to learn how to control your emotions and your feelings and your mind. And just tell everybody a little bit about, you went to somebody called Paul Blackburn, which was amazing. You learned so much from him. Can you explain to everybody how you did? Some of you might be going through things that are really stressful, taking you into memories. You keep repeating the same thing over and over again. It's all you can think about. Maybe this would be helpful as well. So what do you do in a situation like this? Well,
Dr. Vane, who was the police doctor at the time, he was fantastic. He looked after all the guys that had been injured and went through mental stuff and stressful things. So he was always helping the police. And he said to me, he said, Paul, if you got to learn how to control your stress, you got to learn how to sleep again. So I went to a seminar with a guy called Paul Blackburn, as you said, and Paul was my first mentor. He took me under his wing. He worked in Canberra. He worked with a lot of champion athletes and working on the mental side of sport. So he mentored me and taught me everything he knew about the mind and how the mind works. And he taught me to let go of things that happened in the past and all the things that really, really stressed me out. So it was a big learning experience, because I'd never heard or seen anything like this before. And it was, in the programs that I had, I kept on doing the same mistakes over and over and over and over again. And then when I sat down with Paul and he explained how your brain works, that was like a revelation to me. So I put into practice what I'd learned with him, and it's changed my whole life.
And you still apply it to this day, don't you? So can you share with people how does the brain work?
Yeah,
simplify it.
So I'll simplify it, but that is another really talk. But but what happens and how the brain works? The brain is divided into two sections. It's got the left side of the brain and the right side of the brain, and divided across there's four different sections. There's like the beta section, alpha, theta, and delta. They're four different things. As adults, we spend most of our time in the beta area, up the top area. Down the bottom, underneath the beta area, is called the alpha area, and that's where children spend most of their time. Like, they have fun, they're learning, but and this is where our memory banks are also. So it remembers everything that everybody says there as well. So between probably 0 and 8 years of age, we get around 60,000 different programs, and we get these programs from what our parents say and do. Our brothers, sisters, aunties, uncles, families, friends, the church, advertising, the papers. We pick up all these programs, and the great thing about our brain, it is like a computer. It remembers everything that is good, but it also remembers everything that is bad. And this is stored in our brain. So unfortunately, most people, like myself, we focus on the things that have gone wrong in our life. So we don't focus on the good things. Most people focus on the bad things that are happening in their life. So it's really important to learn how these programs work and how to change them as well.
Yeah. So becoming conscious of those programs is the first step, isn't it? But
yeah,
I've seen you work teaching this to small groups, larger groups, and sometimes thousands of people at a time. And there's one that I really like that maybe you could share today, that it's a program when they've got the line, when you draw a line in the sand, and there's the above the line behavior and below the line behavior.
Yeah. We'll just say today we all say we've got a problem that we want to overcome. What I suggest we draw a line in the sand right now. And what I found that successful people do, there's 3 words that they take why they are successful. And the first word is they take 100% ownership of everything that happens in their life. So but also they take 100% ownership for everything that is not in their life. The next part of that is they 100% accountable for what is in their life. And the third word they generally use is they're 100% responsible for everything that is in their life. Unfortunately, most people live below the line, and their 3 words are they blame. They blame the government. They blame circumstances around. They blame what's happened to them in the past. They blame their mother. They blame their father. They blame, their aunties, their uncles, or whoever. But they live in blame. The next one that they use is they make excuses for everything that happens in their life. They make excuses. Oh, I can't do that. I won't do that. I don't want to try that. And the third one is they stay in their comfort zone. So those 3 words is blame, they make excuses, and they live in their comfort zone.
And what were the top ones? People who are successful
they take 100% ownership, they're 100% accountable, and 100% responsible for what happens to them.
Very simple, but it's something that you have to work on, because people do fall into those little habits of, oh, it's not my fault. It wasn't your fault. You did that originally when you went to the police academy.
Oh, geez. Oh, yes.
You had to open the letter. I'm sure the letter was...
No, I never got the letter. Maybe. I never got the letter. I say I never got the letter, but I could have.
No, I'm sure.
I probably didn't read it.
Yes,
that's exactly. Probably the truth.
Probably there you didn't read it. Thought I'll do it another time and went off surfing.
Yeah,
but yeah, I can just imagine it actually. But what an amazing lesson! Just that simple lesson on how to act when things happen, because we all can fall back into those old patterns, and you have to remind yourself all the time.
Oh, and they're very, very difficult to change. That's why people keep on making the same mistakes over and over and over and over again, and it's always there. And unless you change the program, you'll keep on doing the same things over, especially when you get in a stressful situation, right? Like, for instance, I'll give an example. My mum and dad used to say, money doesn't grow on trees. Money doesn't make you happy. I had a fantastic childhood. I'd never heard my mum say one bad word about anybody. She never spoke about anybody in a negative way. But in regards to finances, money doesn't grow on trees. As I said, money doesn't make you happy, but rich people are probably selling drugs or something like that, So it's I made lots of money and I lost lots of money. Made lots of money, lost lots of money. So it came and goes. So I had a program of scarcity. I know you've got a program for abundance and having an abundant life. So I had to learn that. But also, if you're being surrounded in an abusive home, like your mum and dad swore, or they were abusive, or they drank, or they took drugs, or you've been sexually assaulted, or whatever the thing is, or there's physical or emotional damage being done to you, like that we speak to a lot of people that have been sexually abused, for instance, and we say leave them. But when that person leaves because they still don't change their program, the next person they attract is the same sort of person. And then, if you come from a divorced family, the chances of you being involved in a divorce are very, very high. I used to say, I don't want to end up like my mum and dad. I don't want to end up like my mum and dad. I don't want to end up like my mum and dad. So the words that you use, all you're doing is reiterating the program that you already have. And guess what? I ended up like my mum and dad. I did the same things as what they did.
Yeah, so you changed those programs though dramatically.
Had to change those programs. Yeah.
It's so fascinating. And what I do love about our life together is that we have a really beautiful way we start our days. We do it differently, but together as well. And I think that for you has been a big game changer.
Yeah.
The thing that you do. So are you happy to share that with everyone?
Yeah, for 20 years I've been doing affirmations. So, I've been lucky to have fantastic mentors. Paul was my first one. Then I worked for Tony Robbins at Sales Pursuit and worked with him for 7 years. So we brought out all international speakers. I was very fortunate to meet some of the top presenters in the world, and John Maxwell was another great mentor that I loved, and Peter and Debbie Cox and Jim Rohn, and David Wood. So it's been an amazing journey for me. But one of the things that I really have used and completely used are, I have 3x5 cards. Mm-hmm. So I do affirmations before I go to bed every night. And then what it does, it reprograms my subconscious mind. This is one of the ways I had to change my mindset and change the programs. And this is only one way, but there's many other techniques that you can use to change those programs. Like, I'm deserving and worthy of success in all areas of my life. So I didn't believe I was good enough. I didn't believe I deserved and worthy of the success that I was having at the time. Here's a couple more. I'm in the zone. Everything happens with ease and grace. If you're a sports person, you know all about. We're fortunate to work with world champion athletes, and they know about getting in the zone. So in the zone is like when you're in flow. Everything happens with ease and grace. Like if you're a tennis player, you might have these moments of the ball is bigger than what it is, and it's just going in slow motion. So that's one of those there. I attract fantastic people and leaders to me every day. That's another one that I use. I am a winner. I am strong and powerful. And I've got about 10 of these that I read before I go tonight, and my subconscious mind picks it up. And then the first thing in the morning, the first thing I reach for, well, is you. I'd reach for you first, but I reach for my affirmations. I reach for my affirmations, and then it just starts my day off well. And then after I do that, we do an hour of Qigong. Qigong is like an energy, like a martial arts that I've been doing for a long time. It's like a technique for energy and just relaxation. I love the Qigong that we do, and everything's done and completed by 9 o'clock.
And we do a walk,
and then we go for a walk. You know what I mean? So it's we about an hour and a half. We walk through nature and just relax, and we do another little meditation down on the beach overlooking Sydney Harbour, which is beautiful and relaxing. And it's a great way to start the day.
Right, it's such a beautiful way to start the day, and we didn't even realize we were doing intermittent fasting, really. Yeah, we don't actually eat till about 10. Yeah, and we normally eat at 6 in the evening, and then go the whole time until 10. And whilst we've been doing this, we've been feeling so much better, and recognized that we'd actually were missing a meal now. Yeah, so just on these affirmations, I want a lot of people write them down. But there's a little secret that most people don't do. You have to use your 5 senses. You got to use what do you see? What do you smell? What do you taste? What do you hear? What do you feel?
using your 5 emotions as if all these things have already happened. And that's really, really important. When we do goal setting teachings on setting goals for your future, whether it's business or relationships or for money, whatever you want to do. And also we got our vision boards on the back of our door, things we want to achieve. And but using the 5 senses is so important. People can do vision boards, but if you haven't got that emotional attachment, and you remember our last 5 vision boards, we've had amazing results with things we've ticked off on those vision boards. It's been an amazing journey for that as well.
They fall off the wall when they're
finished.
It's really weird. Our vision boards seem to just come off the wall and fall, and it's like, what's going on with our vision board? And invariably it's because it's actually done, it's completed, and we have to make another one. But that is really, when using those 5 senses is very important when you're looking at the vision board. And it's there because it's the last thing we see at night, first thing we see in the morning. It just happens we've put it on the back of our bedroom door. However, I think the other thing is writing out these cards in your own writing is very powerful, isn't it?
Oh, very. It's more powerful by doing it that way. Writing down and feeling the words and feeling the emotion of, what you want to achieve. Remember, these are my words. You have to come up with your own words and what you want to achieve, which is really, really important. A lot of times I do talks, and you do talks, and people try and do taking notes on what we've written out. But this is about coming from your heart. This is what you want to achieve. So, and when we say we do a financial goal, I just say by the 31st of December or sooner, I want to earn this amount of money, such and such. But I always put in or sooner. Or sooner or more, or I am. You know what I mean? So it's as if it's already done, and visualizing, what is done. Now, I know I've shared a lot with you, and I know you won't be able to do all this in one go. This has taken me, years and years of doing this and working things out and that as well, and working, as I said, with fantastic mentors. So that's been a blessing for my life and changed my life, actually.
Yes, I think it's great that you've shared this. And if you are on your knees at the moment, or you feel lost, maybe just one of these things, just start doing one of the things. It could be the Qigong, it could be a yoga class, it could be, I do the Tibetans as well. It can be whatever is right for you. Maybe it's not exercise. Maybe it is just going for a walk.
Yeah.
Just going for a walk, because getting out of the house is always such a good thing to do, rather than just staying in your home. Could be the affirmations. I think they're really powerful. They've worked for you. They're what you do. A vision board, and being inspired by other people, what they do. We're just giving you ideas. It might not be right for you, but just start with one of these things.
Even though I'd been doing personal development for 30 years at the time, and I didn't really I didn't complete my, not that completely, because it's a never-ending journey. But I was around 60 years of age, and when I really learnt this lesson, I had to forgive myself for the things that I'd done in the past, and I had to forgive others for things that happened in the past. When I forgave myself and forgave others for what happened in the past, my life completely changed. It was like the weight of the world came off my shoulders. And, it's just a life-changing event. Forgiveness is probably the biggest lesson that I've ever learned. And that came from one of the other mentors and that as well.
Well, you had to hit a crisis, didn't you?
Yeah. You had to hit a crisis. And I've had many of those. That was
crises. A big crisis, though. And it was, I think the other thing is, obviously, with your training as being undercover, you wore a mask. So your life, you almost said, was a lie.
Yeah.
Because you had to lie about who you were.
Yeah. So every day was a lie.
Yes.
So,
it's
lying.
A big burden.
It was just, and the thing is, down the track, by working, with criminals, you had to think and be smarter than how they thought. So you had to remember every word that you virtually said. So it was a crazy situation to be in.
Very stressful.
Very, very stressful.
Because you couldn't be yourself.
Well, it was life-threatening there a couple of times, very, very close. And, you know, man, and anyway, yes, it's very stressful.
It's got some stories.
I've got too many stories.
That's for sure. But the moment you removed that mask and you became you, you changed, and I was witness to that, which I'm really.
Yeah, well, now, well, I wouldn't show any emotion, that's for sure. And now I go to the movies with you and I cry with you. so yeah. So it has been a journey. You know,
you had to crack open that. Your heart was just covered in concrete when I met you. He was a very different person, but you had to, because of all the circumstances that you've been under. But interesting how, even though you'd done all that self-development, you still had the concrete around your heart.
I still didn't let go, and as soon as I let go and forgave and just it took a bit of time, because you always get tested to see how courageous you are with this. You know, when you're working, you think you got something beat, and then, okay, let's see how you really have worked through this, and then something else will happen, and then, you know, it's always there to be tested.
Yeah, life is continually testing you, that's for sure.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's a never-ending journey of self-development. And also your fears. Like, I had a fear of success, but I also had a fear of failure. So that was another big one. And, you know, you might have a fear of snakes. You might have a fear of spiders. You might have a fear of the dark. You might have a fear of not being good enough. A fear of public speaking. And that's a really big one, because a lot of people hate public speaking. So it's really, really important to learn why and how we got these fears, but also how we can change these fears, and that as well. So that's another important lesson as well, because we've all got our own little fears and, you know, our own beliefs and our own core beliefs, and what we believe is right. But the crazy thing about this is the only thing that you know is what you know.
Exactly.
You don't know what you don't know. So there's so much more out there that we can work with people. And the great thing about what I've learned, I haven't learned this from reading books only. I've learned it from personal experiences and what does work. And after working with thousands and thousands of people on what does work. So it's you know, whether it's your relationship, you know, you keep on finding the same person over and over and over again, and you want to change that, or relationships. It could be money, it could be success, it could be anything. You know, travel, whatever. You know, so your past does not control your destiny. Your destiny is in your hands.
That's so true.
But the only thing stopping you is your fears.
Yeah, that's very true. Goodness, there's a lot of lessons in this today.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for asking all these difficult questions.
That's okay. It's good for you. It's good to remember that person that you don't often. You live so in the present now.
Yeah, I live in the now. So that's another thing that a lot of people always looking in the rear vision mirror what's happened in the past, and they live in the past. Unfortunately, most people go to their graves not reaching their full potential, because they're always looking in the past. I can't do this, I can't do that, whatever, you know. So these fears, they hold you back from reaching your full potential. So if you're looking to step out of your comfort zone and, you know, take responsibility for your life, and you want a better way, you know, I'd love to help you in any way that we can help as well.
And the good thing is you can start it again today, clean slate, begin all over again. Just start with one of these things.
Yep.
Just change that mindset, change your language, even listen to how you're speaking. I mean, you can actually get clues when you're listening to people.
Yeah.
And if they're negative, and you're saying it to yourself. So just changing that, your self-talk. There's so many things you can do, and you can do it right now. There is nothing stopping you from changing your life and making it absolutely incredible.
Yeah. because if you speak negatively, you're going to attract negative people to you. And just have a look at the 5 friends around you and see that gives you an indication of what your thoughts and beliefs are as well. Because you'll attract those type of people to you. If you love and got great friends, that's fantastic. But unfortunately, the majority of people, they stay in their comfort zone and they attract the people that are just like them.
It's true.
And I've lost lots of friends from the past over, now that I've changed, I've attracted different people around me. I'm, attracting successful, people that are in their lives and that as well. So it's this mindset is everything. Having a positive mindset is so important.
Yeah, wise words.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.